Imagine going about your normal day, answering emails, helping customers, laughing with friends, waiting in line for coffee, completely unaware that someone nearby has quietly decided you are the person they want access to. Not because you did anything wrong, not because you invited it, but because, to them, you look approachable, accommodating, unlikely to push back. Most harmful situations don't begin with obvious danger. They don't start with shouting, threats, or dramatic scenes. They start with friendliness, with attention, with behavior that feels just normal enough to dismiss and just uncomfortable enough to notice, but not enough to act on. That gray area is where many people get stuck because we are not trained to respond to discomfort. We are trained to respond to certainty. We grow up believing danger looks like strangers in dark alleys. But in reality, risk often looks like someone everyone else describes as so nice. It can be a coworker, a customer, an acquaintance, a friend of a friend, someone who blends into ordinary life. That's why so many people later say, "I didn't want to assume the worst," or "I thought I was overthinking." The problem isn't that people are naive. It's that human beings are wired for connection, cooperation, and social harmony. From childhood, we are taught to be polite, to give people the benefit of the doubt, to avoid embarrassing others, to not make a scene. These rules help society function, but they can also make us hesitate when something feels off. Because the moment you consider that someone might be targeting you, you risk being wrong, awkward, or unfair. And most people would rather tolerate discomfort than risk social conflict. Another reason targeting is hard to recognize is that it rarely happens all at once. It unfolds through small moments. Extra attention that feels flattering. Someone opening the door for you. Someone helping you move. Someone helping you fix a flat tire. Someone offering to give you a ride. Someone giving you a snack. Someone giving you a compliment and then testing your reaction. And this is important. If someone ever gives you a compliment and you light up, start blushing and appear as though it's the best compliment you have ever heard, then you just sunk your own ship. Because if someone is in predatory mode, they will watch how you respond to their compliment. And if you appear not to get too many of them, then they will love bomb you. Each individual behavior can be explained away, but taken together, they form a pattern that prioritizes the other person's access to you over your comfort. Your body often recognizes this pattern before your mind does. You may feel tense, distracted, unusually tired, or eager to leave. You might find yourself rehearsing what to say, laughing more than you feel like, or scanning for an exit. These reactions are not random. They are your nervous system processing subtle cues, tone of voice, proximity, unpredictability, inconsistencies between words and behavior. Yet many people override these signals because they don't want to appear rude or dramatic, especially in roles where politeness is required: customer service, healthcare, education, hospitality. You may feel trapped between professionalism and personal safety. You may tell yourself to just get through the interaction, to be nice, to not escalate things. Meanwhile, the other person may interpret your politeness as permission to continue. Being targeted does not mean you are weak. In fact, it often means you are perceived as kind, responsible, empathetic, or unlikely to cause conflict, qualities that are valuable in healthy relationships. The responsibility always lies with the person who chooses to ignore boundaries, not with the person who trusted or tried to be courteous. Awareness is not about becoming suspicious of everyone. It is about recognizing patterns that signal your comfort is no longer being respected. You do not need proof of someone's intentions. Discomfort alone is enough information to justify distance. You are allowed to leave conversations, disengage, change your mind, or prioritize your safety over social expectations. With that in mind, here are 15 clear red flags that, especially when they appear together or escalate over time, can indicate that someone may be singling you out as a potential target rather than engaging with you in a mutual, respectful way. First, A person may be targeting you if they consistently single you out for attention even when other people are available, repeatedly approaching you or focusing on you in group settings. Second, it is concerning if they try to create privacy or isolation by suggesting you move somewhere quieter, offering unsolicited rides, or waiting until others leave before engaging more intensely. Third, someone may be testing your boundaries if they start with small intrusions like standing too close, touching casually, or making jokes that make you uncomfortable and then repeating them. Fourth, a major warning sign is when your hesitation or refusal is overridden with pressure, minimization, or persuasion instead of being respected immediately. Fifth, a sudden personality change, warm and charming in public but more aggressive, controlling, or sexual in private, can signal that their niceness was situational. Sixth, excessive charm or flattery early on, especially when it feels disproportionate to how well you know them, may be used to create obligation or emotional leverage. Seventh, personal questions that arrive too soon, particularly about where you live, your schedule, your relationship status, or whether you are alone, can indicate information gathering rather than genuine interest. Eighth, ignoring social cues that most people would respect, such as continuing to talk when you disengage or interrupting your attempts to leave, is another red flag. Ninth, creating obligation through unsolicited gifts, favors, or special treatment can be a tactic, especially if something is later expected in return. 10th, monitoring or surveillance-like behavior. Watching you closely, noticing details you did not share, or showing up unexpectedly in your routine spaces can indicate unhealthy fixation. 11th, subtle attempts to make you doubt your instincts, such as suggesting you are imagining things or being overly sensitive, can undermine your confidence in your own perceptions. 12th, exploiting your role or obligations, particularly if you cannot easily leave or must remain polite, shows they are prioritizing access over respect. 13th, urgency or pressure to decide quickly or keep things secret can be used to prevent you from thinking clearly or seeking support. 14th, a pattern of disrespecting other people's boundaries or rules suggests they are unlikely to respect yours either. And 15th, one of the most important indicators is your own persistent sense of unease, a feeling in your body that something is not right even if you cannot explain why. Awareness of these signs is not about fear, it is about permission. Permission to trust your discomfort, to protect your time and space, and to remember that you do not owe anyone unlimited access to you simply because they asked nicely. Your safety does not require certainty, only attention.